my wonderful TM joiners. I'm Priya Mistry, the TMJ doc. Today's video is all about why children grind their teeth at night. I get this question from concerned parents quite a bit, so I thought I'd make a video to address this topic. Be sure to watch until the end to hear my explanation in its entirety. Also, stay tuned for my new segment called Highlighting a TM Joiner, where I pick one of your comments and I comment about it and talk a little bit about the video that it was in. Before getting into it, be sure to check out my office website, my social media. There's tons of information on TikTok, on Instagram, on, of course, this YouTube channel itself. Be sure to follow, subscribe, all the things that you can do to get all this content pushed out more into the interwebs so that together we can help more people. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a general dentist with a practice in Vancouver, Washington. At my practice, we are dedicated to taking care of those with TMJ disorders. So let's get right into it. Why do children clench and grind their teeth at night? Many people, including healthcare practitioners, believe that the number one reason that we clench and grind our teeth is solely because of environmental stress. So things that are causing us anxiety or frustration or fear or sadness or any of those very human emotions that any of us can feel on any given day. And while I acknowledge that, yes, that kind of stress, that environmental stress can definitely have a role in increased clenching and grinding activity, I don't think it's the number one reason for nighttime clenching and grinding activity. Yes, outside stressors that affect our mood can definitely play a role in increased clenching and grinding activity. But it's actually been found that the number one reason for nighttime clenching and grinding activity is, drumroll please, sleep disordered breathing. This includes sleep apnea and its little sister, upper airway resistance syndrome, UARS. In a nutshell, sleep disordered breathing is a disorder where we stop breathing repeatedly throughout the night. Now, if we stop breathing time and again throughout the night, what that will do is put our body into a very stressful mode, a fight or flight mode. The fight or flight mode is a very stressful mode for our bodies to be in when we're trying to sleep. So one response to stress, emotional stress, physical stress, is to clench and grind our teeth with more force, more frequency, and for a longer duration of time. What many people don't realize is that grinding the jaw forward actually physically opens the airway. So it's sort of like the chin tilt in CPR. It's a way to open up that airway. And our brain sort of learns that. Night after night, if you stop breathing, the body will figure out a way to kick that up again. So if grinding the jaw forward actually opens the airway, that's almost our body's intuitive or reflexive way of knowing, hey, this is how I can get more oxygen into the body. This is how I can get a better oxygen saturation. And if you think about it that way, sleep disordered breathing really is a stress to our body. So therefore, I guess you can say stress is the number one reason behind clenching and grinding activity. But rather than an environmental or an emotional stress, I'm saying it's the physiologic stress that the body gets from sleep disordered breathing. That physiologic stress will cause us to clench and grind our teeth more. If you or your child are grinding your teeth every single night, it's well worth it to meet with a sleep doctor. This can be life-changing or potentially even life-saving. A sleep doctor will give you a questionnaire to fill out to sort of try to see if you have the signs or symptoms that are very common with people who do have sleep disordered breathing. They'll consult with you, and if they think it's appropriate or necessary, they'll recommend a sleep study to test for sleep disordered breathing. For both children and adults, the gold standard of sleep studies is a polysomnogram, a PSG. This is a lab sleep study. It's very difficult to gather all the data we need with a home sleep study for children. Now, I know this video is about children, but I want to just as a side note include some information for adults who might be clenching and grinding their teeth and looking for more answers. Like I said before, for adults too, the gold standard is a PSG, a lab sleep study. However, many insurances will require a home sleep study first. Now, a home sleep study is less accurate than a lab one, and therefore it will underdiagnose. For example, if you take a home sleep study and the diagnosis comes back as mild sleep apnea, keep in mind that the home sleep study underdiagnoses, so it may be moderate sleep apnea. If you take a home sleep study and you get diagnosed with nothing, they can't find anything, then you still may have mild sleep apnea because the home sleep study underdiagnoses. And at that point, if the doctor recommends it, you would probably be approved to get a lab sleep study. So the takeaway point here is for adults, try to get a lab sleep study if you can. So back to children. If your child has sleep disordered breathing, if they have mild, moderate, or severe sleep apnea, or even upper airway resistance syndrome, they won't reach the same levels of deep sleep that somebody without sleep disordered breathing will. And deep sleep is so important. Deep sleep is incredibly important for growth, immune system functioning, and building and repairing muscle, bone, and tissue. Deep sleep is vital for all of us, and children actually need more deep sleep than us adults. Now, a key thing to note here is that when adults don't have good quality sleep, it will present as daytime fatigue or daytime sleepiness. We're just tired. Many petite women who don't fit the mold of an obese man with a thick neck over 50 years old, if they don't fit that mold, these petite women will get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome rather than sleep apnea. And the sleep apnea goes underdiagnosed for many years. I see this time and again. I see this probably 4 or 5 times a week at my private practice. Now, when children don't get enough sleep, they react a bit differently. It's the opposite. They get hyperactive. Because of this hyperactive behavior, many of these children get diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, when in fact, the underlying issue that's gone undiagnosed is sleep disordered breathing. Because this hyperactive behavior seems totally counterintuitive and impossible to connect with lack of sleep, many parents don't see their constantly active children as actually constantly sleepy or oversleepy. So what specifically can we watch for in our lovely children? Well, when they are sleeping, you can watch for clenching or grinding activity, snoring, frequent bedwetting, even if they've been potty trained, sleeping with their mouths open, gasping, thrashing in the bed, snoring, and snorting. Because these children have been physiologically stressed all night and haven't gotten good sleep, when they wake up, they are more prone to mood changes, poor school performance, misbehavior, and more. Because they're grinding their teeth heavily night after night, their teeth will appear worn and flat. Baby teeth, our children's teeth, are softer and will wear faster than our adult teeth. I've included this image for clarity. Take a look at the canines. They're flattened down quite a lot. Now, the canines are the fang teeth. They should look like sharp, pointy vampire teeth. And instead, when they looked flat and worn down, that's signs of grinding activity. Clenching alone will not make them this flat, typically. Another thing to keep in mind is that grinding the teeth, many of us believe that grinding is loud. Like, I would know if my child grinds their teeth, I would hear them. However, it doesn't have to be loud. You can grind your teeth in a way that's not super loud. And what's sort of interesting is that my son has flattened his teeth down quite a bit, but I've very rarely heard him grinding his teeth at night, like maybe 1 or 2 times. But his teeth definitely show the signs of it. If your child has the signs or symptoms that I've talked about in this video, please reach out to a pediatric sleep doctor in your area. You may have to go first through your primary care physician. Remember to be an advocate for your child and don't rest until you get the answers you need. Keep in mind that it is not normal for children to constantly grind their teeth or snore or wet the bed or thrash around or all the other things I've listed in this video. At my private TMJD only practice, I don't see children often. I don't see very many children ages 7 and below. Now, the reason is it takes time to develop true TMJ issues. And so I just don't see a lot of young kids, which is great. I'm happy they don't have TMJ problems. Having said that, I have seen a handful of 8 to 9-year-old patients who were experiencing TMJ issues. Their jaw was actually locking closed, which is a very painful condition during which you can barely open more than 1 or 2 finger widths. It causes ear pain, jaw pain, headaches, neck pain. It's just not fun. So for those patients, I did treat them. I was able to treat the TMJ condition and get them to the point where they were not having pain and they were not locking anymore. The jaw was not locking anymore. However, I did have conversations with their parents about what could have led them to have such a severe jaw issue at such a young age. And for every single child involved, it was some sort of sleep disorder of breathing. They had been diagnosed with sleep apnea, or they had large tonsils and adenoids and they were getting tested for that. For every one of them, it sort of went back to the same thing. I also see that many of my adult patients have sleep disordered breathing as well. So there's such a connection between sleep disordered breathing and TMJ disorders that I just have to talk about it and tell you guys about it. The purpose of this video, I guess, then was kind of bifold, if you will. I wanted to, one, address why children clench and grind their teeth at night. What's the most common reason for a child who's doing that night after night after night? And two, if we can prevent TMJ problems from happening by sort of guiding their facial development and taking a really good look at their airway, making sure they're breathing well at night, if we can prevent TMJ problems in the future by looking at things and taking care of them now, that's always key. So I hope you gained some good information from this video. Now let's take a look at a comment from a viewer. So we'll go into my new segment called Highlighting a TM Joiner. The comment I've chosen to highlight is from Janet. She commented on one of my videos about the awesome book, The Life-Robbing Pain of TMD. If you haven't read this book, be sure to grab it now. It's really, really good, and it has a lot of information that's delivered in a concise way with images. It's super easy to read. It probably won't take you more than a few hours at most. And it's chock full of information. So Janet said, and I quote, "Thank you, Dr. Mistry and Dr. Lee. I have been seeking help for my TMJD for over 20 years. These videos have been more educational and more helpful than anything/anyone I have encountered in those 2 decades. I recently ordered the book and it helped me find a doctor with both a FICMO, F-I-C-C-M-O, and MICMO, M-I-C-C-M-O designation. My first appointment is next week. Fingers crossed that he will be able to help me." Thank you, Janet, for such a lovely comment. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad you found the video and the book helpful, and I sincerely hope you get all the help that you have been looking for. So that's really it, my friends. Again, I'm Dr. Priya Mistry, and I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. If you're looking for TMJD pain relief from the comfort of your own home, please be sure to download my free PDF guide called 3 Steps to TMJD Pain Relief. You can find this on my office website. Remember that questions and comments are always welcome. I am doing my best to reply to every single comment, and be sure to comment because I might pick you for my next Highlighting a TM Joiner segment. Thank you, my friends, and remember, you can never have TMI about TMJ. Bye.
It's only love and that is all. Why should I feel the way I do?